Hey there my friends, this is Robin Hood, and today I have a really interesting 2 versus 2 that I played last night with my friend Indypride. This is going to be on the Crossroads map. It was a battle list, we couldn't find any matchmaking battles, so we set up the map this way on purpose for a few reasons I'll explain once we're in the map, but there are no dojos or anything. And then our opponents are Agony Jade and MS Wheatman. And I don't know if that's a real Agony person or not, but yeah. So this map, I'll be in the yellow, he will be in the blue, but he is bringing a vanilla shogun army, and actually MS Wheatman is also doing that, so it's 2 shogun armies and 2 Fall of the Samurai armies. I'm gonna be fighting Agony Jade, although it really kind of merges together, so it doesn't matter. So right here at the beginning, he brought ninjas, and I'll explain that in a second, but to guard them we rushed our cavalry forward. So you can see my whole army's already been ordered to move up here, and his is doing the same. We decided we'd both try to take out Agony Jade first. Now the ninjas, if you look at this map, I have actually fought battles on this map, and there was one 2v2 we actually were winning, and then we lost because of how they shifted their troops. It wasn't with Indypride, but all of these hills make it so that never at once, if you're fighting in the middle, and that usually happens, you know, can your enemy have an entire line firing at you. You know, like my whole line wouldn't be able to fire, and we thought that would be good for Indypride, since he was bringing the vanilla army, so that he would not take a ton of fire. And then the plan was we were expecting this guy to move up and challenge us, so the ninjas were right here behind the ridge, and then when they got close he was going to run them over and stall them so my men could take the ridge. But our opponents are content to sit on their hill, and it'll be a while. Now that's a small army for Agony Jade to have, so we knew he had some hidden units besides just these 2. Because this is large funds, there's no way that's all he brought. But we'll take a look at my army quickly. I have Imperial Infantry, I'm gonna say 4 of those maybe? 3, 4, yeah, and then I have my Infanterie de Marine and my United States Marine, which is right there. Then I have 2 Shogatai, just as meat shields and to, you know, do some killing. Then my cavalry, 2 saber cav, and 3 yari kai way out there on the left. For some reason, my cav ended up on the left, and Indypride's ended up on the right, the opposite sides of our armies. I don't know. And then, obviously, my general. So my 2 marine units have 150 range. None of these guys' units do, so sitting on that hill won't help them much, as you will see. Indypride has tons of Nodachi samurai and Naginata attendants, and then light cav, and obviously all of that cav down there, and the ninjas. So you can see I'm moving forward my 150 range units. Now down here, we knew something was hidden in these woods. We wanted to attack them though, so he's gonna send a unit of Yari cavalry in, because we didn't want a 150 range marine something, you know, unit like that ending up on my flank, because that could be very problematic. Those are powerful units, and they can just shred units very quickly. So he goes in, and then you know what, at this point I see my saber cav. I see this guy is actually charging my saber cav, so I'm like, okay, look, I'm gonna take this hit. You get the hammer and anvil off and route this yari kai unit. And saber cavalry has no defense against yari kai. They're basically like Katana Cav versus Yari Kai. You can see they got destroyed. They have no bonus versus cavalry at all. So they won't win that fight, but we got rid of this Yari Kai, and I was planning to use the Saber Cav as a meat shield anyway. Now you can see everything's coming out of the woods here. There's a Yari Kai there, one here, Imperial Infantry right there, yeah, and 2 Shogatai. So it's a pretty big force down there. And this guy makes the mistake of chasing out his cavalry too far after Indypride. Yari Kai are, I mean, you can look, 16 melee attack and same charge bonus to the Yari Cavalry, so they are better units than Yari Cavalry, which they should be. They're more advanced, but he has way more. And right here, he goes after my saber cavalry again. So what I did is I pulled over this way, and then I also brought down this unit of Imperial Infantry. They get some really nice shots in on here, and it's just a ton of running back and forth, but at this point we decide to go ahead and engage, and I charge my saber cavalry past these units into these Imperial Infantry and shogutai, because mainly it's the Imperial Infantry. We do not want them being able to fire into Indypride's cavalry. And then let me click the mini-map over here. My cavalry is beating off these Yari cavalry of Wheatman. I'm just going to call him Wheatman, and my cavalry is going to win that. But back down here, you know, we're managing both flanks right now, but my saber cavalry killed off his Imperial infantry, and they did take some losses from the volley from this Imperial Guard cavalry, but that Imperial Guard cavalry got destroyed there, and we effectively, without very many losses, I think the only unit we really lost was my one saber cavalry. We effectively took out this flank of Agony Jade. So now we know there's nothing in the woods, and that my flank is clear. My general was down here helping out, and this Imperial infantry, and I have won the cavalry fight over on this flank. So we have complete cavalry superiority, and we have it by a lot. That's 3 units, although one's very depleted. Here is another 5. He still has a light cav up there, and I've got this saber cavalry. And you know, we wanted a ton of cavalry when he was going to be using this army, the vanilla army, because of the fact that, you know, we need to be able to close the gap quickly and not give them time to fire. And if you can move up behind a cavalry screen, it's really nice, you know, meat shield with the cav some, because the thing is with the cavalry as opposed to these attendants, the cavalry gets there quickly, and although they might go down, if they do make it, they make it very quickly, and by that time these guys are close enough that if your cavalry routes, they won't really get to fire. So here, this is pretty impressive. My Infanterie de Marine got the first shot off. It wasn't all that effective because they were in the woods, but my Infanterie de Marine is going to single-handedly pretty much shoot out these 2 units here, including this Imperial Guard infantry. And, you know, it's just an excellent unit. And here my Marines open fire, and look at how many they killed in that volley. That is excellent. And by the time these units move forward, they're already firing again. This unit's already lost a ton of men, and I've got the suppression fire going, and they're gone. So they thought they were going to get first shot up here on this hill. My 2 Marine units made that impossible, and so at this point I have killed off and seriously depleted his units to the point, the firing units, to the point that Indypride's army is going to go on ahead and go in, and my shogutai are going in with him. Back here, I did a charge into the back of these swords with my cavalry, and did quite a bit of damage. One of them was actually about to rout, but I had to get out of there due to the spears. But in the front, you can see my line absolutely blasted through that guy. And in go the Kisho ninjas. And let's watch this. This is going to, you know, when these shogun armies get into combat now, oh wow, look at that destruction. Gotta love ninja bombs, don't ya? Yes, you do. Yeah, so my men are still firing, but you know, once the few times I played with Indy where he doesn't have Follow the Samurai, so he always brings the regular. Once his army gets engaged, it gets so many kills. The problem is getting it engaged, and you know, we pulled that off here. Look at this complete encirclement going on. I've got the cav back here, his cavalry's coming around the flank. Mine's going in right now. Those ninja bombs are going off. We've got my men firing in a ring down this hill, and this absolutely massive horde of troops charging up. It's just crazy. There comes the cavalry, hammer and anvil. My cav's right there. There's units down this flank. But once these shogun armies get engaged, they get so many kills in so short of time. It's crazy. He's actually going to pull off most kills here by like 100, even though I got the first shot and everything on this, and it's because his army, you know, just absolutely goes through these units. Now my men are still firing, and I believe I'm actually probably killing. Yeah, for all the people that fired, I think every single one of them that died was one of Indy's men there. But I mean, just look at the amount of men on that hill. I know this screen thing's in the way, but we completely encircled them. There was the fight down here. It was a fun battle, very fun. So, you know, I don't know what they did. They probably should have met in the center. I feel like they'd have had a better chance because I wouldn't have been able to use my 150 range due to those hills. And the Shogun army wouldn't have to fight both mine and Indy's. And they wouldn't have had to give up the cav. I'm not sure. You know, there's obviously stuff they could have done differently. I had the better infantry, though, than the Agony person, so that pretty much means, I mean, I probably would have won the gunfight anyway. My Marine units, doesn't matter if they're at close range or far, they're going to do damage. But there's the stats. You can see just how many of them we killed, and they didn't really do that much. And it's partially because of where they deployed. They thought they were going to get the first shot and mow us down coming up that hill. So I don't know if they didn't have unit cards equipped, because they should have seen that my 2 units had extreme range. I mean, I took out 2 units before they even got into range of me. So, I don't know. But we'll take a look at the unit stats. Yeah, there's my Infanterie de Marine, my Cavalry, and then my United States Marines back down with the Cav. Then the rest of my stuff. These guys didn't really do all that much. White Bears did okay for him. Indy's Yari Cav got a ton of action there. And the Kisho Ninja. And then for this guy, it was his Yari Cavalry with the best. His army really didn't do anything at all. But good game to our opponents. Thank you to Indypride for playing with me there. We'll be bringing you some more replays soon, and I will see you guys next time.